Hello everybody, my name is Leica. I'm a licensed practical nurse in the state of Minnesota. This is not a substitution for medical advice, and any of these advices or dialogues that I have been giving, please do not use them as a substitution for real medical care. So I wanted to talk about semaglutide. The first thing I have to say about it is not for everybody, and that's okay. It was something that I had done research about as a nurse. I had given it to patients. I knew what GLP-1s were, and I understood the function of them. The function of a GLP-1 is generally to assist with lowering blood sugars over the course of time. They're more of a long-acting versus short-acting kind of insulin. So I had given this to many a patient. I'd given semaglutide, Wegovy, other tirzepatide before. They've been out for a while actually, and then they were, about maybe they blew up like 3-4 years ago. Now everybody knows what semaglutide is, but these GLP-1s were, like, I guess just used for people with diabetes and to manage and for diabetic management. Now, of course, we all know that there are different ways of obtaining this medication, and I guess I'll start with why you would want to start a GLP-1. So I am usually about maybe 20 to 30 pounds overweight, and I've struggled with my self-esteem, with overeating. I have been diagnosed with bulimia as an eating disorder. That began when I was around, I'd say 10 to 13. I began experimenting with bulimia, and sadly that has affected me for the rest of my life. I had an eating disorder until I had my first pregnancy because I realized the eating disorder would affect my child. So I would stop when I was pregnant, but after having my son, I continued to have this issue. So part of having an eating disorder, especially one where you binge eating like excessive amounts of calories and then forcibly making yourself purge, you gain weight. No matter how much you try to purge, your body still retains some of the food that you've ingested, because immediately upon ingesting food, it reaches the acid in our stomach, and then, of course, our bodies start to gain any kind of nutrient and caloric benefit from that food that gets ingested. So the reason why I wanted to start GLP-1s is I had an addiction to food. I had food cravings every night since I could remember, like being 10 years old or younger. I came from a household where we were a family of 6. I was the eldest, and I remember fighting for food with my brothers and calling them names when they would eat the really good snacks. I mean, that is absolutely embarrassing to say, but we came from a really lower income family. My mother is an immigrant, and when she came here, her only job was to take care of her 4 children, and my father was the breadwinner, so he would go to work, and we were surviving on one income. So whatever we could get, whether it was, food shelf, WIC, you name it, we go to a church, we'd get some food there too. We fought over food because it was a scarcity issue. Like, we didn't have enough money to feed everybody, and we are kind of big people. So genetics plays a role in why I also think that semaglutide ended up being such a huge and positive change in my life. But anyway, so the reason why I binge ate so much was because I had the fear that I wasn't going to have that food, in the next few hours or days. I was always thinking like, hey, that box of Captain Crunch, like, I should eat like 4 bowls of it because my brother, Frank is just gonna suddenly, swoop in, eat more than half the bag. Like, I mean, that's pretty sad to say, but at this point, it's kind of relevant because grocery prices are so high. I think food scarcity is, again, becoming a huge issue. So if you are having issues with binge eating, just know there is help out there. There's a lot of other programs, but we're going to focus on like the reason why some of us needed semaglutide. So that was one of the reasons. And then there was these, it sounds like I'm a crazy person, but these food voices, it's as if you're constantly being like told like, hey, you're hungry, eat. At every single moment, you just hear this voice telling you like, yo, you should probably go to the fridge or open the cupboard and see what's in there, because something in there is just calling your name. Leica, eat me. I mean, like, every night since I was little, I could just feel my stomach rumbling, and it could have been like even after I had eaten a big meal and I was like, why do I still crave food? Is there something wrong with me? And yes, I do think there was something wrong with me, metabolically, because, or it could be a mixture of psychological as well. Why? Why do I want to constantly eat despite knowing that I had just, eaten maybe 1,500 calories? You just gone to McDonald's, you had like a huge meal, or you went to KFC or a buffet and you're like, I don't need to eat anymore, but my body is screaming at me. I think it's called food noise. Yeah. So that is the other reason, because I had constant food noise in the back of my head telling me I needed to eat. So, yep, I'm overweight. I have had an eating disorder, and food noise has been a constant companion, or the constant demon in my life telling me to eat in excess. So for those of us who have these issues, again, I don't know if it's because of the trauma I experienced as a child and having food scarcity. I don't know if it's also genetics, because I come from a family of bigger people. Most of my brothers are about 6 feet and above and weigh over 200 to 300 and something pounds. So we are just big people. I myself am only 5'4.5", and I've weighed anything between 130 and actually when I was pregnant, 200. So I mean, that I can blow up, but the best thing to do is not blow up. So yeah, those are my reasons for why I wanted to take semaglutide, and just having very unhealthy relationship with food. I also went through a period of time where I was vegan and vegetarian. I was super restricting myself, and still I was continuing to binge and purge. So I would just be eating super healthy foods, just vegetables and fruits. And at a point it was like, oh, you can eat tofu and beans. And I mean, being vegan in high school and through college was extremely difficult. And I just remember I got anemic. I have put again, these are signs of an eating disorder. I definitely had a pretty full-blown eating disorder throughout my high school years and college years. So now, okay, those are my reasons. And now I guess I'll talk about how long I have been on semaglutide. So I've been on semaglutide now for, I think, about 2 years now, or almost a year and a half. A year and a half, because I think it was in January of 2023, something like that. It hasn't been more than 2 years though. What I can say is that I haven't lost a huge amount of weight. I was about 170 something, like I think I was bordering on like 175, and now I'm down to anywhere between 145 and 150. Like, it's not a huge amount of weight. It's about, maybe 30 pounds or less, 45, 65. Yeah, it's not very much, but the health benefits are great, because going from, just obese to overweight and then to within range, like my BMI has gone from like obese and then, you know, a BMI that's anywhere after like 25 is overweight. So now I'm coming back down to about like 24 when I'm about 145. So that is a healthy, what's considered to be healthy. And I started with a couple different companies. When I first started, let's see, it wasn't Mochi, but it was something like Mochi, and they charged me about $300 for one vial of semaglutide. Keep in mind, it does come usually with, you know, the supplies, so you're going to get insulin needles, alcohol swipes or wipes, the instructions, and you should be getting some sort of counseling. So you'll be talking to a doctor and checking in, I think, about in every month or every 3 months. It depends, because you might have questions about nutrition as well. And nutrition is definitely something that I also struggle with. But again, when I first started, it was about $300. I then went to another program where they charged me about $175. So just, you know, enough where I'm like, okay, $300 a month is really difficult for most of us just to have this medication. But I noticed its benefits and I switched to the other company. And I guess I'll touch on the topic of if you've never injected yourself before, it can seem daunting. I'm a nurse, so I inject people pretty much all the time. But they're very small needles, like super thin. I mean, most of the time I have not really felt them. The places that you typically inject are going to be like the stomach, and you're supposed to switch where you inject. So say you started on your, you know, upper quadrant here, which no, it's not really that popular to do upper, it's mostly lower, but okay, say you start on your left lower quadrant, the next time you would inject would be on your right. And you're going to be talking to a provider about your dosing. It should be in your instructions, but you usually start with a very low dose that you're going to take 4 times that month. So every week, you're going to be taking that same dose at the same day of the week at the same time. Again, though, you're going to want to switch injection sites, and this is because there's a potential for infection. As you are putting a hole into your skin, that's where pathogens can enter, so make sure you're utilizing your alcohol swab. You're going ahead, you're, you know, doing a thorough job of keeping the area clean. You let it dry, and then you inject. Some people forget that you have to switch injection sites. You can't use the same one over and over again, otherwise you're going to give yourself a potential for infection. So the next thing I'd like to talk about, like, you know, besides the fact that you usually start with a subscription service, you talk to your doctor, instructions are clear, you may even have a nutritionist to talk to, like I did that once too with Mochi. And then besides that, let's see, you might want to know about the side effects. So here it comes. First time side effects are typically going to be things like diarrhea, vomiting, nausea, heartburn, stomach pain. What else? I mean, if that doesn't already scare you off, I don't know what will, because at first it was pretty daunting. I won't lie. Like, the first month was okay. The first month, you're gonna feel like, all right, I feel a little bit different. My appetite has decreased. I mean, you're definitely not going to eat the same way that you used to. It's just this feeling of being satisfied, and then that food noise is suddenly, it's gone. It's crazy, but it's gone. So you're focusing on other things besides eating, which in my world is crazy, because all I could base my life around was, when's my next meal? When do I get to eat again? I'm excited. Where's the food at? Like, that's all I cared about, was what I was going to put in my mouth. My brain and my taste buds they're just focused on one thing. I had a one-track mind, and it was food. So having that noise disappear, oh boy, do you know what I ended up doing? I ended up going back to school and taking prereqs so that I could get my RN, which I'm still working on. I don't know, we'll talk about that some other time. So I went to school because I could concentrate, and it really helped. I worked full time during that time doing laser hair removal, and I did my coursework, and it was great because I no longer had that, nagging voice telling me I needed to eat 24/7. But yes, back to the side effects. When you have to go to your next level in dosing, what happens is they're going to like double this dose. And that's when you're like, okay, now the shit is really hitting the fan here because I'm feeling nauseous. I want to like lay down. I just don't feel good. You might have crazy diarrhea. Like the diarrhea the first time around may last you like a couple days, a few days, but it shouldn't be to the point where you get dehydrated and need to go to the doctor. Now keep in mind, when you're on semaglutide, you will feel more thirsty. You will be the most thirsty person in the world. If you used to hate water, well, guess what? Suddenly, you're going to be carrying around like a big jug with you everywhere. You're going to be like, oh my goodness, the weather today, it's great. And, the sun, I need to drink. So, there was real water in there. You're going to want to drink so much water, it's going to be insane. And you're going to be like, where can I get more of this? Because I just need to drink. And trust me, it is for the greater good. Drink your water and you won't die. There's also reasons for that. So water is going to help you stay hydrated, but also help you with your bowel movements. Because now that you're not eating as much, you're not getting more moisture and, water into your body. Your body's like, wait a minute, I would have already drank like 3 sodas, drank like a couple glasses of milk, some orange juice, and now I'm not drinking at all. I mean, I'm not drinking all that soda at least, but I'm switching it to water, and great. And you're probably not eating as much, so you're not getting any fiber, or you might not be getting as much fiber as you used to, because you're just not eating as much. So that comes to our next issue, which is constipation. Now, constipation is real, and it is definitely one of the reasons why some people have to stop, because when you get fecal impaction from not drinking enough water and not getting enough fiber or exercise, yes, fiber, water, exercise. Those are like the 3 main things now. Making sure that you stay hydrated, eating enough fiber so that you have regular bowel movements, and yes, exercise is key. Don't forget, you still have to do these things. This isn't just a magical shot that suddenly makes you skinny and sexy. You have to still do the work. You will need to do your weightlifting, and we'll get into that too. Anyways, constipation. So this is what helps me. It's psyllium husk. You can take 3 capsules with a glass of water 2 to 3 times a day. So this has been what has saved my life in terms of having bowel movements. I have always been somebody who, due to, my eating disorder, I would throw up every liquid in my body, and then it'd be hard for me to poop. I wouldn't poop for like 3 days, and then I'd be backed up, and you just feel horrible for days. So this has really helped my digestive system to continue to keep me regular, because let's all be honest, like not being regular can make you feel like SHIT. So this is what I get on Amazon to help me with my irregular bowel movements. Trust me, it will save your ASS. All right, on to the next. So we were going to talk about exercise as well. Exercise, not extra fries, but you're probably not going to want to eat extra fries on semaglutide. So muscle loss is a huge thing. You're not eating as much, not getting your your hydration in, you're not getting as much fiber in, and suddenly you're just feeling really sluggish. Why do you think this is? Well, you're not taking in enough calories, not drinking enough water to stay hydrated, and then you're also not, regulating your system by eliminating, having those regular bowel movements. But also, semaglutide has a side effect of decreasing muscle mass. Now, say you're a woman like me who's in her 30s, and by the time you reach 30, I thought, most of you probably knew this, but you'll lose about 1% of your muscle mass naturally every year. So you're going to have to continue to build on that. Go to the gym like 2 to 3 times a week minimum. Do some weightlifting and you'll retain your muscle mass. A lot of people think that semaglutide is, something that doesn't take work. No, you still have to work on your body. It's really sad when people are looking sickly and too thin and you can see that they've lost muscle tone. You still have to work out. It's part of your bone health as well. So as we get older, we'll lose we lose calcium in our bones, and as a woman, either genetically, Caucasian and Asian women, because of smaller statures, are more prone to falling and having osteoporosis, which could lead to you breaking, like I have worked in long-term care. I'm sorry that I'm kind of stumbling for words, but watching older women who are very frail because they just didn't do enough exercise and they didn't take care of their bodies, they didn't eat enough protein, they're more likely to be the ones that fall and then pass away, because it's hard to heal after you break your hip when you're in your 70s and 80s. Like, it's hard to regenerate, all that new muscle and, for that bone to regrow. So be careful. Like, in your younger years, try and build your body up as much as you can, because it helps you as you get older to strengthen your bones. You're not going to bulk up. Most of us don't naturally have the ability to bulk up. And if you are, you must be taking something extra, or you're that 1% that can bulk up. And then besides the working out, 2 to 3 times a week, doing weightlifting, I'd highly recommend to increase your protein intake. Again, this has to do with the fact that you're losing muscle mass. As a woman, I'm 36. If I don't take in more protein, do I just want to look sick and thin? No, I don't even think I really could. I'd really have to be very sick and not eat at all. I'm a thicker person and I work out. I work out 2 to 3 times a week minimum, and I also do like heavier, like yard work and whatnot. But genetically, no, I was meant to be a bigger person, meant to be very strong. So I'm not strong right now. I don't have that much muscle, but I do take in, protein through various. I'm not a vegan anymore. I realized, like, being anemic when I was in my teens and college years made me so, I regret that so much. I realized how painful that was for my body, being anemic. I eat meat, so I eat chicken, beef, pork, you name it. It's an animal, I'm eating it. I make meals ahead of time, or I make them the day of. I cook, like, I have a family, so I'm always trying to make as much of a balanced meal, and I include proteins in every meal. So for me, it's not a big issue. Let's see. And then I guess maybe we could go through talking about the benefits. This is gonna sound wild, but okay, another confession. I stopped drinking alcohol potentially because of this medication. You will not feel the same way about alcohol. I have a mother-in-law who also started taking semaglutide. She likes to smoke the really cool plant, the one that's got like 7 leaves, and she loves to drink. So when she started it and she started to get like, she looked, I mean, she changed. So much of her has changed because of this medication. There's so many amazing benefits to this, but this is the weird one where honestly, I think semaglutide helped me with my alcohol addiction. Okay, this is gonna sound so weird, but semaglutide and addictions, I mean, they just don't go together. So, food addiction and alcohol and magical ganja tree and like you just, I mean, I have tried to drink while, taking semaglutide, and number one, even just having one drink suddenly feels like you've had five. And you're not going to like that feeling because it's just like, whoa, I just hit the wall and I've only had a drink. This is, I mean, it's a discomforting feeling that you're not in control of yourself because with one drink, for somebody who's been an alcoholic, you wouldn't feel barely anything usually. So it made me super sensitive to alcohol, but also with the magic plant, I've tried taking, a hit here and there, and I don't feel anything. Literally, I just don't feel anything. There was no benefit to even smoking it if I couldn't get any sense of relaxation, any pleasure out of it. And it was the same with alcohol. I no longer have had this sense of pleasure. It was more just like, I'm dizzy. Like, why am I dizzy? Usually there's a sense of euphoria, warmness. You feel like alcohol is like a warm embrace that slowly comes over you. No, this is like you hit something and you're like, oh, I think I need to lay down. Like, this doesn't feel normal. So alcohol and drugs may not be your friend anymore. Therefore, you may end up losing more weight because alcohol, it's just empty calories. It's also a venom. So if you're kind of thinking like, yo, I could kill two birds with one stone, this might be it. This just might be it. That's one of the great benefits, but I think the greatest benefit of it all was losing the food noise. The food noise, I mean, it's still here and there, but also it's helped me incredibly, like with my eating disorder. I have gone into outpatient treatment. I think it was like more than 5 to 7 years ago, and that helped me too. But this definitely helped because you never really stop. I feel as somebody who has had, addictions, so like addiction to food, addiction to alcohol, you never really stop having the cravings. It's because you've experienced it. You know what it's like. It exists. So your brain is telling you, you could do that. But the beautiful thing about semaglutide is I don't feel like I have to do it. And then I realized like my body's going to tell me I'm not getting anything out of this. Like it doesn't feel good. I mean, do you want to feel dizzy and feel sick? Do you want to be hungover on one drink? And us ladies in our mid-30s and above, like we're pretty much already over that stage. We're not in our 20s anymore where we could be superwoman, drink like, 13 shots and then go to work the next day. That's not possible for us anymore. And if it is, well, you might have a problem. But this isn't the video about that. This is a video about semaglutide. But I could tell you a video about that because that used to be me. Anyways, another amazing thing is you might save money on groceries. Groceries are expensive. You go to the store, it's like $400 for like maybe a week or maybe 2 weeks. I don't know. Depends on how bougie you are and how much you need to eat or what brands your family's buying. I generally spend around maybe $500, $600 a month on groceries. And I have a teenage son. I have a husband. I mean, we all like to eat, but I feel like the reason why you might spend less, or I mean, just with the economy itself, it really, I can't really say because prices have increased and I feel like I'm not even saving anymore because I barely eat, but the grocery prices still go up. But I guess it could help. I mean, if you're currently, spending a lot of money by yourself and then you don't have to buy as much anymore. But still, it's like, you know what? Let's not even talk about the grocery prices at this point, because it is what it is. Anyways, thanks for staying this long with me. I really appreciate your company. I hate the sound of my voice, and I hope that most of the things that I've told you could help you decide whether or not semaglutide is, you know, something that you'd like to try. If you have questions or want to make a comment, feel free. This is just a really boring video about my experience on semaglutide. Again, don't take this as something that you could use, you know, like as a personal decision for medical advice. This is not medical advice, nor is it a substitution for going to your doctor and actually talking to him or her about starting semaglutide. All right, you guys, love you so much. Mwah. Take care. Bye-bye.